cash flow here, and the ways to solve it, there's two ways that you can do it. You can, as I said before, increase inflows. I just put inflows, or decrease outflows. And this is because net cash flow equals cash inflow minus cash outflow. So you could increase the inflows or decrease the outflows to make the gap bigger, so your net cash flow is bigger, which is what a business would like. So yeah, and you've got to be careful. I know this is more business one stuff, but cash flow does not indicate profit for a business, because you could have inflows of, I will do the inflows first, which leads me on to this. You could have inflows of a bank loan. Now, a business, if you have a bank loan and you go, yeah, we've got £3,000 of pure cash in this month, I'm going to go and rent a flat somewhere, which probably wouldn't happen. But that's not an indication of profit at all, no. What it's an indication of is that the business needs finance to cover that area. Obviously, from our business one stuff, you need security for this. And then you could solve another way of increasing inflows, which you don't need security for, is an overdraft. And as again we know from business one, you don't need security, so you don't need to guarantee, which would be good for small businesses, as you don't generally have that. But we're talking about bigger businesses, so maybe a bank loan would be more appropriate in that respect. Or we could have an overdraft, which obviously no security but higher interest payments, because the bank needs to be sure that you're going to pay it back, and obviously and they demand it back at any time because of that. Yeah, so the next one we're going to do is you could do sale of assets. So a sale of assets is one that I personally, if I was a business owner, I would try to avoid, purely because you can't use it again when it's sold, and you can't use it for security as a loan, which if the business would need one of these, that it would need its access, which would be bad. Now for the sale and lease back, it's another solution. And it kind of leads on from sale of assets in the respect that you can use it. So if a business decided, yeah, we want the money for this, but we want to keep it in production, they could sell it to another firm and lease it back. Now the only couple of problems with that, obviously it can't be used as a guarantor for loans, and yeah, so lease back, sorry, I was just thinking, is based on a year contract you have with a given supplier. Now if your competitor say, oh well, we want it more, we're going to pay a higher price, then you're going to lose your asset, and that is going to be bad, because you're going to have to buy one, and it may mean you may spend more on renting the equipment than buying it, and you would have kept it, so which is still quite bad. So you might have to sell it and then buy it back at a higher price, which means you've just lost money, which is pointless. And you could fix the credit periods. One you could do is shorter credit period, or no credit. And this would severely affect your customer satisfaction, purely because if you've got a business and you're saying, yeah, we're going to offer you 2 years credit, you can pay us back in 2 years, and then all of a sudden one day you come into work late on a Tuesday and the customer comes in and says, I want a car, and you're going to go, bog off, you're not having any credit from us at all, zero, zilch, square root of jack. They're going to go, well, stuff you, I'm going to go to Vauxhall Motors next door with your Fiat Panda. Okay, so it's going to be quite bad. Just giving an example there, don't hold me up to liability for it. I'm not a billionaire, you can't sue me. Just an innocent guy making a YouTube video about business. So you get no credit. And then there's another one that you could do, and then that would be, oh yeah, debt factoring, sorry. So you may be asking, well, what's a debt factoring? Well, a debt factoring company buys a percentage of your debt based on how risky the customer is and how likely the customer is to pay it back. So if you've got Jim and he's been rolling around the country, been in New Zealand and you've not in, Africa and just generally bobbing around here and there, and you've not kept track of him, you don't know where he is, that debt factoring company is the chance of it getting its money back, because it buys the customer's debt off you, and your chance of it getting the money back for that is going to be quite low. So the risk is quite high, so they're going to want a high incentive for profit to do that. So they earn profit, debt factoring companies, buy a percentage of the debt off you, of your business, for it's generally a smaller price than the debt is actually worth. Obviously, that's why they make their money on it. So the more risky the business is, the less of the debt they're going to pay back, which is bad. Say, for example, if it costs you £200 to produce the good, they said that the customer said they'd buy it for £300, and then the debt factoring company would more likely offer you, if it was an average, so they'd probably take 90% of that, or if it was risky, they'd be less than that, but generally it is around 90% they would pay, because they've still got to make money, as they're still a business, they're still offering a service, so they don't care about your business, they care about making money. And the way to solve so as I said before, there's two ways. You can increase your cash inflow or decrease your cash outflow. Now, we've done increasing cash inflow. However, you can decrease your cash outflow by cheaper suppliers or negotiating longer credit periods with your suppliers. Now, there is two problems with them two and longer credit. So cheaper suppliers may have a detrimental effect on the quality of the goods. Generally, cheaper means worse quality, but that's not always the case. But generally it is. That's what we're going to assume for this case. And then longer credit periods. So you're decreasing the amount that you've got to pay out, because you're saying, I'll pay you in 5 months when our customers paid me. But this could lead to the supplier saying, if they're going to give you a discount of 20% on your next order, they may not give you a discount at all now, because you've asked for longer credit periods. As you've got to imagine, all these businesses are also businesses. I know, it's like amazing. I didn't think of it myself. I thought, it's crazy business stuff. So you got longer credit period or cheaper suppliers. And then your capital equipment, you've got two ways of reducing that, because that's quite a big spend for businesses on capital equipment. So you could not buy any capital equipment. And an effect of that, obviously we assume the business to still have capital equipment, but not paying for the capital equipment, like new equipment, could mean the old equipment is more likely to break down, not just because you're not buying it, but if you don't decide to update it, for example, and they could become worse quality, or the efficiency might be lower than a new machine. So all of that would increase your unit costs if it were to break down, for example, or if the efficiency was less than a new machine, which is not necessarily the case, but it's more than likely of technological improvements within the economy. So, that's especially if you're in a mass market, that could mean people can switch between the products easily, and your low quality and unit cost may be high, which you may have to pass on to the consumer in the form of a higher price, which would reduce your market share. Or you could say, well, we'll keep our unit cost may have not necessarily increase, but are higher than your competitors who bought the new equipment. If you charge the same price as to avoid losing customers, then your profits will be less, so your competitors will invest more and you will invest less than them, so people are more likely to buy their product, which all means it's quite bad. So another capital you could do is you could solve that by leasing capital equipment. Now the only problem with this, it solves the problem of, well, you know, it's cheaper than buying it outright, depending on how long you have it for and the rate you charged. And you know, it solves all your problems. However, if we were to, the business says, oh, we want a bank loan for £200,000 and our new machine we've leased is worth £300,000, but that's not your machine, that's someone else's machine. And you can't, as much as a company would say, or anyone would say, yeah, I'll buy a Lamborghini and I'll put everyone's house up in the whole of Stockport up for security, and you can take their house away, there's no problem with me. You can't do that because it's their equipment, so that is, you can't put it up for security for them reasons.